You can't become a Christian unless you get a miracle from above, right? You cannot become a Christian unless God breathes into you by the Holy Spirit. It's an utter miracle. But we forget to follow Jesus is an utter miracle. In other words, to follow Jesus in the world in which we live, demonic powers and all surrounding us. Do you understand? It requires also a miracle day by day by day. That we're relying on the Holy Spirit inside of us to grant us this power from heaven itself to follow Jesus one day at a time, pick up our cross, follow him, and trust him for resurrection. But it's an illusion to think that our people can follow him without being deeply connected to him. Not in the world we're living in. So the problem, however, of shallow discipleship is it's global. It's everywhere. And so here we are. We're here at this conference. And we are about deep change. We're about come to our churches and get deeply changed by Jesus. That's why we're here, not simply superficially. And so we've developed over the last 22, 23 years here something we call emotionally healthy discipleship. And really, it's got 4 core essentials to it. Slow down to be with Jesus. That's gigantic. I mean, underneath the 2 courses, and you'll see this repeatedly throughout the 2 days, underneath these 2 courses are really 4 core essentials. One is slow down to be with Jesus. Number 2, you got to go back to go forward. Every culture, and we had a very wonderful meeting yesterday with all the internationals, or most of the internationals, every culture clashes with the gospel. Every culture has to go to a crucifixion and die on that cross. Whether it's fierce individualism or comfort or a failure to be vulnerable, you name it, workaholism. Thirdly, we learn new skills. To love well. We learn skills because loving is so critical. That's why the relationships course is so central. And then finally, we practice rhythms, Sabbath rhythms, and it's part of our life. So we think about emotional discipleship. The best image I have is of an icebreaker. And, I'm sorry. Here's the course. So here's the 2 courses. Emotional spirituality course, obviously, and then you've got the relationships course. Okay, 2 separate courses, 8 weeks, a big package. Which you're all familiar with at this point. So we're talking about here a big change and an icebreaker. If you can go to that, Kate, there it is. This is actually, an icebreaker, these are ships that are built to go into the Arctic, into the North Pole and cut through ice. Now, there are light icebreakers, there are medium icebreakers, and there are the heavy ones. Okay, Russia actually has the best, and this is a nuclear-powered icebreaker. And it goes into that ice, and actually it's able to cut through the deepest ice and cut a path through. And you can see, I like about the pictures, you can see it's opening a pathway, for other ships to follow. But that ice breaking is really hard. Imagine, there's 2 nuclear reactors in that ship, powering that ship through. We don't have any in the United States. But you watch a video of it, you're like in awe of it. What you've got to see is that what we're doing with EA, emotionally healthy discipleship, is we are like an icebreaker. We are bringing to the church, the wider church, a discipleship that is foreign. It's like going into something that's set in stone, and all of a sudden, we are breaking it open. Now, it's little, it's small, but it's big. I mean, you got a lot of ice out there. You say, well, I know, it's not a wow, but it's small, but it's very powerful. That's why you can expect, of course, there's going to be some resistance. Of course, there's going to be pushback. Of course, this is going to be hard. Of course, you're here for this training because this is a big thing. Because once that ship has broken up the decades and decade of cultural and worldly discipleship in people, in the church, you have opened up a whole new way for the entire church. It is going to impact everything going on in that church. Evangelism, mission, leadership development, teams, you name it.